Nicholson from the law office. Three, two. I'm attorney Mark Nicholson from the law office of Mark Nicholson, also known as a battery man for my focus on criminal battery cases. I'm going to talk about the murder of Julio Foolio and the trial of Alicia Andrews and what we know so far. This high-profile murder case grabbed headlines, but they also reveal how the criminal justice system really works when the stakes are highest. Now, this ongoing trial of Alicia Andrews for the murder of rapper Julio Foolio is a perfect example of how complex these cases can get, and why having the right legal strategy matters more than ever. Now, the crime that shocked the rap world is this allegation that on June 23rd, 2024, Charles Jones, better known as rapper Julio Foolio, was celebrating his 26th birthday at Holiday Inn in Tampa, Florida. What should have been a celebration turned deadly when multiple masked gunmen opened fire on him while he sat in the car. Foolio died at the scene. 3 others were injured. Now, this wasn't some random act of violence, according to the prosecutor. According to investigators, this murder was the culmination of a years-long gang war between rival Jacksonville groups. Foolio was allegedly a member of 6 Block, while his killers belonged to ATK, Ace's Top Killer, and 1200, rival gangs that had been feuding for years. The shooters came prepared. They used modified AR-style rifles fitted with brass catchers to avoid leaving evidence behind. This level of planning shows premeditation, exactly what prosecutors need to prove first-degree murder. Now meet Alicia Andrews, the first to stand trial out of 5 people charged in Foolio's murder. Alicia Andrews is the first to face this trial, and she's charged with first-degree murder and conspiracy to commit murder, charges that could put her away for life. Here's what makes her case interesting from a legal standpoint. Andrews wasn't one of the shooters. The prosecution's theory is that she played a different but crucial role as a spotter and getaway driver. They claim she traveled from Jacksonville to Tampa with 4 other co-defendants, tracked Foolio to 3 different locations, and provided real-time intelligence to the actual gunman. This is where criminal law gets tricky. Under conspiracy charges, you don't have to actually pull the trigger to face the same penalties as a person who actually did. If the prosecution can prove Andrews knowingly participated in planning the murder, she's just as guilty under the law as the shooters. The prosecution's playbook. Now, the state's case against Andrews relies heavily on circumstantial evidence and digital forensics. They're using cell phone tower placing Andrews at the murder scene, surveillance footage showing the defendants tracking Jones throughout the day, digital evidence from Andrews' phone and iCloud account, including deleted text and Instagram messages. Now, witness testimony about the gang connections and ongoing feud. Prosecutors are highlighting that Andrews lied repeatedly to police, that's what they're saying, during interviews and after her arrest. While lying to police isn't a crime by itself, sometimes it is actually lying to police, it is devastating to a defendant's credibility at trial. The prosecution painted a picture of a coordinated hit. They argued Andrews and her boyfriend Isaiah Chance served as a surveillance team, following Foolio around Tampa and feeding information back to the actual shooters. When you're facing conspiracy charges, this kind of coordination is exactly what prosecutors love to see. Now, the defense is fighting back. They're saying that they are taking a completely different approach, and obviously, they're arguing that there's no physical evidence tying her to the crime or any conspiracy. Their strategy includes several key points. No gang affiliation. They claim Andrews isn't part of any gang or the gang culture. Domestic violence angle. They tried to argue she was in a controlling, threatening relationship with her boyfriend, though the judge ultimately denied the duress defense. Lack of knowledge. She believed the Tampa trip was about reconciling with her boyfriend, not committing murder. Someone else planned it. Another person booked the Airbnb through Instagram, and Andrews didn't know others would join the trip. She stood out. Unlike the other defendants dressed in all black, Andrews wasn't dressed to blend in during a hit. The defense also went after the lead detective's credibility, noting he had only 4 months of homicide experience, and this was his first case as lead detective. In high-profile cases, questioning law enforcement's competence can be very effective. It can make it stick. If you can make it stick, very effective. Now, there was some legal drama in the courtroom. It had its fair share of drama when the judge made several significant rulings, including shutting down the defense's attempt to use domestic violence as evidence for the duress defense. But the real fireworks came when tensions exploded between the prosecution and defense team. The judge criticized the defense for failing to properly inform witnesses about sequestration, meaning they can't talk about the case. Basically, witnesses can't talk about the case or get outside information about the case. Judge Sisko also called the defense failure to do this inexcusable. The defense fired back, accusing the prosecutor, Scott Harmon, of being unprofessional and disrespectful, citing inappropriate conduct and unnecessary aggressive behavior. The kind of courtroom conflict might seem like legal theater, but it matters. When judges start criticizing your team's preparation, it can influence how the jury views your entire case. And when tensions run high, it's easy for lawyers to make mistakes that hurt their clients. What this case really teaches us about criminal defense. The Andrews trial highlights several critical issues that come up in serious criminal cases. Digital evidence nowadays is everywhere. Prosecutors pull data from the phones, iCloud accounts, cell phone towers, surveillance cameras. It is everywhere. In 2025, there's almost no such thing as a crime that doesn't leave some kind of digital footprint. Conspiracy charges are very dangerous. You can face murder charges without ever touching a weapon. If prosecutors can prove you knowingly participated in planning a crime, you're facing the same penalties as everyone else involved. Preparation matters. When the defense team, according to the court, failed to properly instruct witnesses about sequestration, it gives the prosecution ammunition and it disappoints the judge. In high-stakes cases, every detail counts because that could cause a mistrial. First impressions stick. The prosecution's opening statement painted Andrews as an active participant in a gang hit. The defense's job is to completely reframe the narrative, and they only get one chance to make a first impression with the jury. Why this matters for Indiana defendants? While this case is playing out in Florida, the legal principles do apply elsewhere, including here in Indiana. If you're facing serious criminal charges, especially conspiracy charges, you need a defense team that understands how these cases really work. Prosecutors love conspiracy charges because they can cast a wide net and charge multiple people for the same crime, oftentimes getting convictions, even if the roles were very different. They'll use every piece of digital evidence they can find, from your phone records to your social media activity. The key is having a defense strategy that addresses every aspect of the prosecution's case. You can't just hope that the evidence doesn't stick. You need lawyers who know how to challenge digital evidence, cross-examine law enforcement, and present a coherent alternative theory of the case. That's what you need. Now, the road ahead. As of late October 2025, Andrews' trial is still ongoing. The prosecution has presented their evidence, including body cam footage from arrests and extensive digital evidence. The defense will have their chance to present their case and challenge the state's theory. Andrews is just the first of 5 defendants to face trial. The other 4 co-defendants have separate proceedings scheduled for next year. How this first trial goes will likely influence plea negotiation and trial strategies for the remaining cases. For Andrews, though, the stakes couldn't be higher. A first-degree murder conviction can mean her life in prison. That's why having experienced criminal defense counsel matters in such cases like this. Don't face serious charges alone. High-profile cases like Julio Foolio murder trial remind us that when you're facing serious criminal charges, everything matters, every detail. The right defense strategy, proper case preparation, and experienced legal counsel can make the difference between freedom and spending the rest of your life behind bars. If you know someone who is facing serious criminal charges in Indiana, don't wait to get help. The prosecution is already building their case. If you need a defense team that's ready to fight back just as aggressively at the law office of Mark Nicholson, we handle those serious criminal cases, including murder charges and complex conspiracy cases. Look, this is a case, this Andrews case, where her defense team needs a winning defense strategy. Don't let that system steamroll you. Now, I don't know in the facts of that case who's guilty, or they did it, she did it, was involved, not involved. I don't know all that. But what I want to use this case is to illustrate the legal principles behind conspiracy and being represented in court for something that is very serious like this, and some of the strategies that go behind it. So, that's your Nicholson Nugget of the day. Please be sure to like and subscribe.